And as expected, bloody wiped today. Very tired. The combination of deadlifts and rows is very taxing. And I'm not even that sore. I'm not sore at all, in fact. Very, very mild. But just systemically, I'm very, very tired today. And I had a good sleep, man. I slept something like 10 hours. And I've woken up today just not feeling it. So, light session today. Worked up to 140 for 5 on squats. Did some bicep curls, and that is it. This is where it gets a little bit tricky to think I can continue to do this and push both movements at the same time. Deadlifts and rows. This has been the age-old question for me, man. Like, can you I realize that the rows are a very beneficial exercise. It's just how bad do you want them? Bad enough to replace deadlifts? Or, lower the frequency, lower the volume. You have to manipulate these variables somehow. If you go hard on both of them in one session, expect the following day, maybe even 2, or feeling washed out. That's kind of how I feel right now. I mean, yesterday was a tough day regardless. I did the 180 for 6, 240 deadlift, and then the rows. Albeit I think the rows that I did yesterday were not very effective in terms of targeting the upper back. It feels as though it was more of a whole body movement rather than I'm doing this movement so I can target my upper back. Very, very poor mind-muscle connection yesterday. Just very poor connection overall. It was just heaving the weight up. This is where you kind of have to measure yourself with the rows. Otherwise, it becomes closer to a deadlift on the road to deadlift continuum. If you can imagine that little graph, you can really load the rows, man. You can really load them, but the more you load them, the less rowing there is and the more deadlifting there is. And at a certain point, you might as well just be freaking deadlifting the weight. It's almost like, okay, you could probably even fit the power cleans into that, right? So what are power cleans? You're yanking that thing up with all your might. With the power clean, you go to your front rack. With the row, you go to the belly. With the deadlift, you go to the hip. So it's kind of like, there's a combination of these movements. They all kind of do a similar thing. I think power cleans are more beneficial. Overall, makes much more sense to do a power clean than to do a power shrug, or whatever the hell that means. I'd rather do a power clean. So I feel like for rows, I'm going to take it back down to 40 kilos and just try and control it, try and squeeze, try and feel some of these structures in my upper back, which are essentially letting me down in the deadlift, I think, and the squat and the bench press. I think the row needs to be worked like, bodybuilder style. So I'm not going to get into this frame of mind to progress the row. Progressing the row is very, very difficult in the sense of how do you measure technique? Because I could potentially progress the row for the next 6 months continuously. And all I'm going to end up doing is mimicking more and more as I go along a freaking deadlift. I'll get to a 160 kilo row, which resembles nothing of a row and everything of a deadlift. So this is where it's kind of like, this is a little bit tricky because it's not real progression. It's just changing the exercise slowly from a row to a deadlift. And I don't think that's smart, So I think rowing for me, moving on, is going to be a bodybuilding type of mindset. Control it, feel the stretch, feel the contraction, control it. Because, the other day when I did the 40 kilos for whatever I ended up doing, 5 sets of 20, I felt that. I really felt a pump in my lats and my upper back, traps region, rhomboids. I felt all of that the following few days. But after yesterday of heaving that freaking 80 kilos up, felt nothing, man. Just goes to show you that it's how do you want it? So I think that's the plan for now. Do the rows like a bodybuilder and see how I go. Appreciate you guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.